guys, sorry for the lack of videos lately. Just been real busy at work. Did a couple new projects such as joining some committees and picking up more shifts, so it's been a lot. So moving on, we're going to continue where we left off with skin issues. Be warned that it's going to be a little bit graphic in the next one because it's talking about like skin wounds and pressure ulcers, okay? Alright, so here we are. We have 4 types of pressure ulcers, and on this slide we have stage 1 and stage 2. Now this is quite high yield. I would recommend learning these pretty well. So stage 1 is basically when the skin is still intact, like right here. You can, like, nothing's broken here, right? But there's this definite redness here. Usually when we talk about the blanchable versus non-blanching, like redness, this is one area we could see it. We talked about that last week. And then when you get a new patient, for example, on the floor, you'll be, poking their skin at these areas. Like if it's a little red, and you're like, it's not turning white. That's non-blanchable redness, or like not exactly white, but like lighter in color. Stage 2 is when there's clearly broken skin here. You can see kind of how this part right here, it's got that skin that's kind of peeling right here. It's when the upper layer, the epidermis, or the middle layer, the dermis, is broken. So there's a partial thickness skin loss, and it's superficial, okay? Also, a blister, like for example, if you got like scalded with hot water and it forms a blister, that's technically considered a stage 2 because under that bubble of that puffy skin is this open exposed area right here. So keep in mind, the blister is a pretty common one that people like to trick people on, because they're like, the skin's intact, it has that little bubble forming. It's like, well, yes, but underneath that it's actually open. Stage 3, so this is when we're getting into the flesh a little bit more and the fatty layer. So it goes all the way into here where that yellow area is represented by fat, and you can kind of see it here in this white area right here. So it's full skin thickness. It goes through the epidermis and dermis layers and into the subcutaneous layers. And then stage 4 is when it goes all the way through every single layer, and it gets to like the bone even. There's a muscle damage here as well, so muscle, bone, or if you can see their joints, etc. This is stage 4. So this is the worst of the worst here, right? So this is the max that we go. Also, unstageables are like these things like eschar. Eschar is dead necrotic tissue that you can't really see, and then there's slough as well. You can't really tell what's under there because we stage based on what's underneath it. You don't know how far this goes because this is covering. It's kind of like that hard scab covering it. You don't know how far down and deep it goes. And then right where my avatar is sitting, it's kind of like slough here that you can kind of see it here. So how do we manage these pressure injuries, right? Well, nutrition's really important. That's why if you guys get into the skin section of your lectures, they talk about how protein's really good for skin repair. That's why these patients get the boost in the hospital to help increase their protein intake. Obviously, topical skincare, incontinence management, so like barrier creams, ointments, nystatin powder, Canalog, like all these things that can help relieve the skin from either itching, the damage, or like fungal growth. Repositioning, hospitals are really big on this. Q2 turning, and then using specialized equipment like the air mattress beds where they kind of like pump up the bed a little bit. Yeah, and then in our hospital, we're really fortunate to have a wound care nurse specialist. So, they would be the ones like recommending to the team what the patient should probably get. Like, like a 2x2 gauze, wet to dry, and then you put a foam on top of it. They're the experts at this, and then we kind of as the bedside nurse just carry it out. And then they have to submit it to the physician. The physician is also aware, And don't forget dietary, because it kind of just mentioned that nutrition is really important. So the physician or you would put in these orders to get the patient on these dietary orders. Kind of hinted on wet to dry. It's basically when we wet a 2x2 gauze or however big with normal saline, you squeeze it out, and you don't just slap like the whole thing like sopping wet onto the wound. No, you kind of like squeeze as much of the water, like excess water, out, and then you place it onto the wound, and then you cover it with more gauze or foam, whatever they want. Pressure bandage, really good to stop active bleeding. So for example, when you remove like a PICC line or a central line, you can use a pressure bandage here. Transparent dressing, clear adherent to prevent tissue dehydration and increase skin cell growth. Really good to also lets you monitor it much easier because it's transparent in the name. And then negative pressure wound therapy, like kind of wound vac. And luckily, our surgical team and everybody else will be the ones monitoring that, like not like us from my facility. We just have to note how much output comes out each shift. These were more applicable to my school, but if it's not relevant to you guys, probably just move on. So the process of wound healing, it's different types of stages. So the first one is the primary, right? The primary heals pretty quickly with minimal scarring. It's usually like very surface level, little tissue loss, and there's very low risk of infection. It's like if you accidentally nicked your hand on a table or something. Secondary, there is tissue loss, like a burn, the stage 2s or more. These have a longer healing time, and there's a bigger risk of infection scarring because it goes deeper into the skin layers, and the wound is usually much deeper, so the chance of infection is greater here. This little nice diagram shows the healing process, how it kind of heals from the bottom up. Wound repair. So partial thickness wounds, kind of like we mentioned before, the primary healing, just basically the skin cells are regenerating and the new skin layers are formed. It's very topical. The full thickness wounds, kind of similar to what we talked about with the secondary healing, where it's deeper. You gotta stop the bleeding, you gotta stop the inflammation, then the new tissue can grow and then start to rebuild the skin. So complications, there's hemorrhage, infection, dehiscence. Dehiscence means when the wound separates. It, like for example, right here where the surgical site breaks open. The way I like to think about it is like when you put your fists together, like your knuckles kind of like line up together. If that kind of, if you kind of like move your hands apart, and then you can kind of see the gap between your knuckles, that's like the dehiscence, right? Now, the worst side of that is evisceration. So this is when the separation of the wound layers and then the organs are able to visualize through the open wound. So this is, for example, in surgery, like if they had abdominal surgery and like the very top layer is just peeling back, like the skin separating a little bit, that's dehiscence, right? But if it completely splits open and you can see the person's intestines, that's evisceration. Next up is the closed suction drains. These are like JP drains here, the Jackson-Pratts here. So basically what happens is you have to like squeeze this little bulb here and then put this little stopcock in to prevent the air. So it's a negative pressure. So the stuff will come out from that like wound here out. It works by negative pressure. And then the hemovac, also pretty similarly, it's vacuuming fluid into this big, drain, and then you can kind of see that you have to squeeze the drain flat. Like it's all working through negative pressure here as well. And it's better for bigger wounds with more drainage because of just how much is in here. And you always want to measure the output, like, measuring cup, medicine cup, Sometimes, like Foley or not Foley catheter, the urinals. Sometimes, like whatever you have to use to measure it. Now the wound vac, it's a vacuum. It's not just like where we saw previously, where it's a little drain and then a tube, and then you just cause a negative pressure and it just randomly sucks out by itself. No, this one is an actual machine with a little pump that's constantly pulling, the debris from the wound over time, reducing the swelling, and it also helps clean the wound, keep it clean, and remove any potential bacteria. So it's usually a more long-term thing. So I think we can stop here for now since it's going to be a new section. This section is rather long, so we're almost done. This is probably the last major section, and then we'll do the exam questions afterward. But yeah, sorry for the lack of uploads. Just been a little bit busy with life, and yeah, just a lot going on my mind. Hope everything's been well for you guys. Have a good, semester if it's almost the end for you guys. Congrats on graduation. Alright, see y'all.